Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
All right, what's going on, YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bit. Let's go ahead and get into this. So, we got some pretty, good news. I hate to celebrate a man losing his job, but it just seems like this guy was one of the ringleaders and a horrible culture for the New York Giants. And I just can't let it go. I can't let it go. I kind of got to mini celebrate for the fact that Chris Pettit has been let go as director of, I think, college personnel. So he was pretty much in charge of all of the college stuff. I don't know exactly what his job entailed, but I know for a fact he wasn't doing a good job. Chris Pettit has been part of that regime that just didn't do well as they were kind of going through this whole process. Also, there's just been rumors. And listen, I'll be completely transparent with you people. This could be complete hogwash. It could be completely false. But me personally, I'm going to choose to believe it because that's my personal decision. This is not a verified source. This is just complete rumors. But there are rumors that Chris Pettit is the person that leaked the Kadarius Toney trade news, the Kayvon Thibodeau trade news. They're not rumors. They're pretty much just people just saying it. People are just saying it, and I'm gonna run with it just because I think it's entertaining. And I just feel like, why not feed into the story? He's basically, being labeled as the guy that leaked all that information. And now that we went through this draft process, it's over. Because two things, and it's a good theory. Two things came out. I think Tim McDonald got fired too. I'm not sure if it was Tim McDonald. It was a Joe Judge guy, pretty much. Tim O'Brien or Kyle O'Brien, one of those guys got fired. But he also got fired along with Chris Pettit. And it's like maybe Joe Shane was kind of putting feelers out there and telling these guys things and waiting for it to get out. And once it got out as, the private source and this person leaked this, all of a sudden you see Pat Leonard leaking things and saying that they're trading Kadarius Toney. And then you see people saying that the Giants don't like Kayvon Thibodeau. And there's some, people in the building that don't like his attitude. When in reality, he was probably one of their top two or three players on their entire board, if not number one. Yeah, I mean, they completely were in love with his personality. So to have all of that come out and it be completely false, either Joe Shane is elite at throwing out smoke screens, or he's elite at throwing out smoke screens and elite at finding the people in his organization that are leaking all of these details about what the Giants want to do and what they think the Giants are going to do. So glad to see that we're turning over a new leaf and we're getting rid of a lot of these guys in the scouting department. I just think it just needs a complete refresh. We cannot continue to have the same guys. Of course, Chris Mara isn't going anywhere. Of course, I think Tim McDonald, the guy that's related to the Maras too, I don't think he's going anywhere either. But to at least have some kind of movement is something that you kind of look forward to. Brandon Brown is the assistant GM, and I think that I can't see everything that he's done, but from everything I've seen, he looks like he's been doing a great job. He looks like he does a great job connecting with players, and it so far it's looked great for the front office. Moving on past that, I just wanted to talk about that as far as a theme, as like we're getting rid of old people, and we're turning a new thing. Is the Giants' stench, the stench of losing, the stench of failing over and over again, the stench of not addressing our needs, is that finally gone? And Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal are two players, two elite players at positions where we have not had elite players. And this is me projecting it. I think they'll turn into elite players. But these are two guys that I think we have not had at those positions in a long time. JPP was the last real elite edge player we had. JPP was always really, really good. OC was always, he was definitely elite. But as far as recent, when you just go back to find the guys, I mean, you got Robert Ayers that had a nice season. You had Marcus Golden that had a nice season. But beyond that, it's been JPP, a guy that was consistently game plan for, a guy that could completely wreck a game. And since JPP left, The Olivier Vernon experiment didn't work at all. But since JPP left, who have we had on the edge that puts any kind of fear into a defense that that really establishes their dominance? I haven't seen it. And as far as tackle goes, Andrew Thomas looks like he's going to be really, really good, and that's really encouraging. But before Andrew Thomas got solidified, and even before that, when is the last time we've had an elite right tackle or two bookend right tackles that you can say are really going to be shutting everything down? And the thing is, you look at David Deal, who's always going to be loved by Giants fans, but he was never that elite left tackle. He was always a solid tackle, solid guard. Wherever you wanted to put the guy, he could play. I mean, he played everywhere, but he was never an elite tackle. So to have an elite left tackle and a guy that I think can be an elite right tackle is game changing. It changes the whole horizon of this team. And if we can get Pro Bowl level play, like Tristan Wirfs kind of play out of Evan Neal in year one at right tackle, that changes everything. That puts all the pressure on Daniel Jones to succeed, because at that point you got both sides protected. You have vets in the middle of the line who are going to do a good job, I believe. If Azudu beats out Max Garcia or Shane Lemieux or even Nick Gates, it's because he was just so amazing in camp that he beat out 2 or 3 veterans. So I feel like everything here is going to be really solid, really solidified, and that line is looking the best it's looked in a long time. And then you look at the defensive line. You win in the trenches, and this is where the Giants have consistently lost in. We've had some of the defensive tackles. We've been able to stop the run at a dominant level at times, but when it comes to third down, when it comes to end of the game scenarios, who's back there getting to the passer? Nobody. Well, now, not only do you have Leonard Williams, not only do you have Dexter Lawrence, but you also have Azeez Ojulari in his second year, who you think should take that next step. You're also getting Kayvon Thibodeau, who is an athletic freak. And even if he's not all the way refined in his first year, he should be a guy that's putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback just off of his quick first step. The guy can get in the backfield in a hurry. So to look at these two lines is really encouraging. And I cannot say that during this entire dark times of being a Giants fan that we have had players like this at crucial positions. Then you look at the secondary. If Bradbury leaves, it could definitely use some work. But it's kind of encouraging to have the guys on the front. And then you look at Adoree Jackson is going to still be there. You hope that if Bradbury leaves, Aaron Robinson can step up and be a nice outside corner, or maybe they move Cordell Flott out there. Cordell Flott steps up and is that slot guy. Julian Love at safety, McKinney at safety. I guess they'll probably throw Belton in there at safety. I don't see the secondary as much of a strength as it was the past 2 years. But if you look at the defense as a whole, I would much rather have elite pass rushers than elite corners. And a lot of people love to say, the corners are more important because you have to be able to cover. Yes, you got to be able to cover, and of course, you probably want both. But at the end of the day, we have seen Bradbury and Adoree Jackson put on great performances as outside corners. And at the end of games, there's nothing they can do because they're covering for 5-6 seconds. And no cornerback, not Deion Sanders, not Revis, no cornerback is consistently going to shut guys down for 4 and 5 seconds, 5-6 seconds, almost 7 seconds sometimes, as the quarterback drops back and goes through his progressions. So to have that presence on the front end, I think is going to help everything. It all depends on the way we can rush the passer. And, I think at this point, if you look at our team, what are the real needs? What are the gaping needs at this point? You probably are going to see them address one of the guard or center spots next year. You got to imagine one of those guys will end up struggling. You think they'll probably address linebacker because Martinez is getting up there, and even if he plays good, you still got to have somebody else. You got to address probably that other safety spot beside Xavier McKinney for a bona fide starter or a bona fide upgrade. And other than that, you don't really see glaring needs. So this is exactly what you want for a team that's rebuilding. If the quarterback is the quarterback that we want, we should be a team that's competing for the playoffs. If he's not the quarterback that we want, we'll be around the same as we were last year, or maybe 7-8 wins. And that'll be enough for us to tell ourselves, listen, we need to trade up, use the resources, trade up for future. We have a team ready to go. Get a young quarterback, put him in a thriving scenario with, receivers galore. Even if Galladay leaves, I think we'll be able to replace Galladay with the guy next year in the second or third round, or maybe free agency, or wherever he comes from. At the end of the day, you're going to have Kadarius Toney. You're going to have Wan'Dale Robinson. You're going to have a seasoned Dan Bellinger. You're going to have weapons at your disposal. Saquon being back, I have no idea, but you're going to have weapons at your disposal. So if Daniel Jones can't get it done this year, it is what it is. But to answer my original question, it does seem like the Giants are turning the corner because things look different than they've looked in over a decade. And that's all I can really point out right now. This is going to be a long process. It's going to be a long off season. I cannot wait to see our rookies touch the field in rookie minicamp, then in training camp, then in the preseason. And it should be fun to watch. Giants fans, hopefully this year, we can see a team that can rush the passer from the edges. We can see a team that can protect the passer during, third down on these third and longs, and our, line isn't completely collapsing. I'm hoping that this team is different than the past 10, 11, 12 Giants teams. 2011 around Eli was a mess. 2011, he had to really put that team on his back. So here's to a new future as a Giants fan. We're getting rid of some old people. I'm sure we'll continue to do that, continue to evaluate these scouts, continue to evaluate this medical staff. And I'm hoping that Joe Shane and Brian Dable behind me, Bill's symbol turned the Giants symbol and all behind me. I'm hoping these guys can really turn things around. It's time. It's really time to do it. This team is too historically great to continue to be as bad as we have been. So you guys let me know what you think of the Chris Pettit firing and what direction do you think that you made it this deep into the video. Come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.